We're back on the early edge, and I've got Emory Hunt and Alex Selznick here to talk Green Bay Packers. Such an interesting NFC North division. Emory, I start with you. I think always the opening question, especially with a relatively young quarterback, is the impact that quarterback can have on perhaps a division title. Now, maybe some people think the Lions are a little bit more vulnerable this year relative to last year. We're seeing plus 260 at BetMGM to win the division. Of course, that's behind the Lions at plus 140. Emory, do you think Jordan Love-led Packers can win this division?
Absolutely, man. This whole division is vulnerable. I think this is going to be one of the more competitive divisions in the NFC we've seen in quite some time because you could make a case legitimately for all four teams. And because Green Bay has some experience with Jordan Love and they have some weapons up front, we know they can run the football. Defensively, they got some pieces, even though they lose Jair Alexander via trade. And that's going to be a question mark that everybody's going to be looking at as we go through training camp and preseason. But offensively speaking, and from a team 10,000-foot level perspective, Green Bay has more than enough to win this division. So that's a good value right now at plus 260.
PropStarz, talk to me about plus 260. I'll mention that this number has gone down a little bit from plus 275. So perhaps the Pack, some money agreeing with Emory here. Packers taking a little bit of money. But Emory's also right that the other teams in this division, it does feel like it's a little up for grabs. What are your thoughts on the plus 260 with the Packers?
I'm on the other side, guys. I think there's a greater likelihood that Green Bay finishes last than they finish first in this division. Taking a look at the division, I thought Emory summed it up well. It's exceptional. We obviously know how good the Detroit Lions are. Chicago arguably had the best offseason in the NFL, certainly one of the better off seasons. Year two also for the quarterback. And then we look at Minnesota, just fresh coming off of double-digit wins. They may take a step back, but I look at Green Bay, and while I do think Jordan Love is a top 10 quarterback, I just don't really think they got much better in the offseason. Really were quiet in free agency, didn't love their draft, and I think almost everything went right for them last year. So they look like a regression candidate to me. I actually like fading them.
Well, if you like fading them from a division standpoint, I imagine you're not too fond of the over of their 9.5 wins. Talk to me. You like the under, I assume?
I love the under here for Green Bay. I just think 10 wins is a tall order. Again, playing in that difficult division against Detroit, Chicago vastly improved in Minnesota. According to Warren Sharp, they have a top 10 difficult schedule this year as well. It's going to be tough sledding for this team. We know Jordan Love's had some durability issues. He has to stay healthy. He has to be pretty great, in my opinion, for them to win double-digit games. They have to overcome a lot. I think they're taking a step back on the defensive side of the football. And then offensively, while they have a lot of weapons, lacking a true number one guy, I think will ultimately spell trouble for Green Bay. So I actually love the under here, especially at plus money, under 9.5 wins.
Emory, talk to me here because in terms of the win total, because I know when we were talking about the division title, we're really looking at a pretty big plus number at the plus 260. So without considering that, you see this 9.5 win total. Do you lean under or over?
I lean under, and if we could put that graphic up once again about the division win odds, it's trying to tell you something. I use my great University of Louisiana education to read between the lines here. When you look at the win total, it's Detroit with 10.5. Everyone else has 8, 8, and 9, right? So that's telling you they expect 9 to be the number, and I do expect 9 to be the number in this division because of how great everyone else has gotten. Chicago is going to be significantly better. I think Minnesota is going to be solid. We'll see what type of play they get from their quarterback, but defense and run game, they're already there. And if you could just hit those receivers, they could win a couple of games there. Detroit, very good run game. Offensive line is a bit of a question mark because of some of the retooling that they're doing up front. And defensively, we don't know what we're going to get out of Aiden Hutchinson, how healthy he's going to be back returning from the injury. So this is going to be a 9-win division team. And so for that reason, I'll take the slight under here at some value because I feel like this division is going to be one game in between first and last, and 9 might be the magic number.
All right, Emory, let's clarify what the path is for the Green Bay Packers in terms of their path to whether it's 9 or 10 wins, or more importantly, perhaps for this discussion, winning the division. Because you talked about the Lions potentially taking a step back. We don't exactly know what to expect from the Bears, although I will admit, Alex, you're right about their offseason moves, including the coaching move, seemed like the play there. And of course, Minnesota, if JJ McCarthy is decent under KOC's tutelage, that team can be very good too. So Emory, talk to me about what has to happen for the Packers to actually win the division.
Health and consistency. This is what happens with Green Bay in recent time. Why we've seen Jordan Love miss time. We've seen Jordan Morgan, at offensive lineman, missed time. We've seen Marshawn Lloyd, who we expect to have a big role in their offense last year, along with Josh Jacobs. He missed time. You think about some of these pieces they have on offense that we're expecting, or especially on offense that we're expecting. Romeo Doubs missed time with concussions. Heck, every other game we're talking about Christian Watson pulling something, he's missed time. So if they could just stay healthy, they have tremendous talent across the board. So if they could, one, stay out there for a full 17-game season and play consistent football, this team should be right back in the postseason. So it's going to be consistency and health that I'm looking forward to seeing from Green Bay this upcoming year.
PropStarz, when talking about the path, I tend to agree with Emory, and I will say that I know we didn't necessarily love the draft picks for the Green Bay Packers on the offensive side of the ball, maybe going a little too early, or maybe not going with the need on the other side of the ball. But with that said, this is a Matt LaFleur-led offense, and maybe even with a subpar defense, this team can score enough points to beat teams.
I think it's going to be difficult, personally. I think they're a run-first offense. They want to win by slowing things down, relying on that defense. I think the defense is going to take a step back. I have some big question marks in the back end of that secondary. Losing Jair Alexander, adding Nate Hobbs. Really, I don't think I think the secondary has some big holes and some major question marks there. And then again, lacking a true number one option offensively. While they were able to get away with it last year, they were very balanced. They stayed mostly healthy. I think ultimately not having a go-to guy in high leverage situations will ultimately cost them. So yeah, I think it's going to be tough sledding for Green Bay.
All right, fair enough. Let's talk about player props. Let's talk about your favorite season-long Packers player prop. Alex, PropStarz, I start with you.
Yeah, I love one here, guys, and it's Matthew Golden, the rookie wide receiver who went 23rd overall to Green Bay, to go under his season-long total of 725 yards. First off, this is a run-first offense. They're heavily weighted to the run. Secondly, there's a lot of weapons here. Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, Christian Watson, who maybe will come back midway through the end of the season, Romeo Doubs as well. So there's a lot of mouths to feed in this offense. And then if we look at Matthew Golden in his college production, he really struggled against man coverage. I think it's going to be a difficult adjustment for him. I don't think he's going to be an every down player in that Green Bay offense. Maybe he's third or fourth. I think he's going to be a good deep threat, but I think it's going to take time for him. I just don't see a lot of volume for him. So I love fading Matthew Golden here under 725 yards on the season.
Emory, we go from an under in the passing game to an over in the running game.
Yeah, I'm surprised this is low for Josh Jacobs at 1,050 yards and a half. I think he goes over that number. He's a 1,200-yard rusher, in my opinion, just on a consistent basis. So taking this over right now, why is this low? And if we're picking up what PropStarz is putting down about this being a run-first team, why wouldn't you go over this number, right? I just feel like with the offensive line improvements, you bring in Aaron Banks, the outstanding guard from San Francisco, that's going to help spearhead the run game, the interior run game. Jacobs does a great job running in between the tackles and then making his move at the second level. So him going over this number is going to be easier for him. He could do this in 14 games, in my opinion.
All right. Josh Jacobs over 1,050 and a half rushing yards. We got the Matthew Golden under. We got Emory Hunt and Alex Selznick always dishing out great stuff when it comes to the NFL.